Charles, ABC 11.
Yeah.
Hubert, just give me your thoughts about what you saw last week and how you feel about, or a couple days ago, and how you feel about going into this weekend.
Well, I was really, happy about our response when Louisville cut it to 5 in the second half. Specifically over the last 7 games, I felt like, 2 boxes that have definitely been checked is, rebounding and getting after it on the defensive end. And, there was a point that in the second half, Louisville was shooting 90% from the field, shot 64 in the second half. And something I told the team at practice the other day was, out of 17 games and 34 halves, that's the highest field goal percentage that we've allowed all year. And that just can't happen. It's just got to get back to getting stops and rebounding the basketball. And so I felt like that put that in perspective of us getting back to what has allowed us to be successful and not getting stops. But I was very proud of the response when they did cut it to 5. And, we've been on the road already in the ACC, and so we've been successful. So that gives us confidence to be able to go against a really good Boston College team that plays even better at home.
Just to follow up, did you see that particular spurt as a lapse or something that you'll keep having to harp on, or you think that was just a kind of one-time thing for the guys?
Well, I think it's something that you always have to continue to preach about, the importance for us to be tight defensively and rebound the basketball, because that ties into the offensive end and allow us to get out and transition. And it's just something that I think you can bring every day. Consistently, you can't count on making shots, but you can count on rebounding, you can count on defense, you can count on concentration and effort and enthusiasm, and those things, that's your job and requirement to bring that every day and to bring it at a high level.
Hubert, with the short turnaround from tomorrow's game to Monday against Wake Forest, have you been approaching practice any differently since the Louisville game on Wednesday to just keep you guys fresh?
No, not really. Yesterday in terms of preparation, it was more, walk through as opposed to getting up and down the floor, and be similar of that today, and getting ready to play tomorrow afternoon. But in terms of like the preparation, maybe, in terms of going up and down, that would change. But like the process of preparing to play, that never changes. And so irregardless of the schedule, we do the things that allow us to put us in a position to play our best, and we'll do that for tomorrow.
Going back to what Traylon asked about the stretch of the night when they cut it down to 5, when you're in the midst of a 7-game winning streak and the team is playing as well as they have, obviously you don't want to see those stretches, but when you have them, are they really good teaching points that you can use with the team that has won 7 in a row?
Oh, it is. In the huddle, I specifically said that I'm not upset that we're in this situation. I'm upset how we got to this situation. And I said, this is good for us. We've been in this situation before, and that's not the reason why I'm disappointed. Why I'm disappointed is how we got there. And I just felt like defensively we were sloppy in our rotations, the way we were playing ball screen defense, getting over screens, talking on defense, and because of that, that allowed to give life to Louisville and be able to cut it to single digits. And so I specifically said that during the huddle.
17 games in and staying on that, is one of the things you're pleased with about this team is their ability to respond in those moments, that when you bring them to the bench and you say, look, we've got to stop this, put the kibosh on this and fix things. They've been able to do that most of the time?
Yeah, they have, and that's something that I've been really proud of them about, but also they're poised. They just don't seem like they panic out there. And so it's just, there's a sense of urgency and awareness of, tightening things up and making sure that we're making the right plays and we're being in the right places. But there's also a poise about it, a calmness, a confidence that we know what we need to do, and we need to change it, and we need to do the things that allow us to be successful. And so I do really believe that there's been a poise about it in those situations as well.
When you think about the non-conference schedule, specifically those games against UConn, Kentucky, what do you think that's done for your team in terms of preparing them for the ability to have poise in situations like that?
Well, I think I really think our non-conference, the diversity of games and teams that we played and the level at which we played, I really do think it has helped us, because one, we had success, and two, there's, in terms of style, there's not really much out there that we hadn't seen before in terms of individual, players and styles and defenses. And so going into conference season, it does give us confidence that, we've gone against whatever we're trying to face, whatever particular night. And I really believe our non-conference schedule has really helped us move in trying to be successful in conference play.
When you look at Boston College, what kind of challenges do you think Quentin Post could present just with his size and also his ability to stretch the floor and shoot?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, like, he's a big that can score consistently around the paint, but I mean, he can shoot the ball from the outside. It's not just maybe 1-3 a game. For example, the Notre Dame game, they don't win without Quentin Post. He's 3 threes in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, and I mean, game's over. And so his ability to off of ball screens, DHOs, to be able to pop and be able to shoot three, that's different. We just don't play many guys that at that size can shoot the ball from the outside and be that effective. So it stretches you out defensively. There's things that we're gonna have to tweak and pivot, alter and change to be able to defend that, but he can also score consistently down low in the paint. That's what makes him one of the better players in our conference.
Is this a similar challenge for Armando that PJ Hall was?
Yeah, that's a very, good comparison. PJ can really shoot the ball from the outside as well. And so it will be, for Armando, for Jay Wash, for James, just their ability to be able to guard them in a post, but also be in position to contest their three and not let them be a factor from the outside. And also, Quentin Post can pass too. They put him at the high post, and he's a terrific passer. Zachary's the leading assist getter, but second is post. That's pretty cool. So I mean, it's going to again stretch us defensively, but I'm excited about the challenge, and I know Armando and the rest of our other big men are excited about the challenge as well.
Hubert, back to the defense. A few games ago, I think it was the Syracuse game, was talking with Harrison Ingram. He was saying this is the most prepared that he's felt on the defensive side of the ball, kind of cited, film study, things like that. When you guys, or how have you seen, I guess, kind of the translation from film study, film preparation to that on-court defense that you guys have been playing?
Well, I mean, I think it's important, one of the things we do every practice, we just, we drill stuff over and over again, to create good habits. We talk about it all the time, and also we show a lot of film. I'm a visual learner, and so like somebody can tell me something, but if I can see it, then I can remember it for the rest of my life. And so, we show them a lot of tape in terms of to confirm the things that we're talking about and just how important it is. But also, I think the guys are really seeing the benefit of it. You can talk about it, you can drill it, you can show it to them, but then when they see it translate individually to their success on the court, and then as well as team success, that's something that builds trust. And I think that's something that we're building and need to continue to build every day, is that trust on the defensive end.
Why do you think Jalen Withers seems to be having more of an impact the last couple of games?
Well, I mean, it's, always, I think, I don't want to say, going from one program to another, I just, from my experience, I got traded twice and got waived once in the NBA and picked up with a new team. That's, it takes time to be able to adjust to a new coach, new coaching staff, new system, new teammates, and that was just basketball. For transfers, they've got to adjust to a new school, new rhythm, the way that the program runs, and so it takes time. And the thing that one of the many things that I love about Jay Witt is just his continued pursuit to continue to grow every day in terms of learning what to do, his job and his responsibilities. I felt like every day he's gotten more comfortable of what he can do and what we need him to do out there on the floor. And I just thought he was fantastic against Louisville. His ability to cut and finish around the basket, I've said this to you guys before, we just don't have anybody on the team that can make some of the plays that he made on Wednesday night.
You really, like, all your transfers are shining this year. I'm curious, like, did you make any changes in how you scouted transfers during last season to kind of prepare for that? Like, to kind of find these guys, and are you still doing that now, like, scouting future transfers?
Well, I think you always, just the same way that, you recruit, from high school, it's, obviously from a basketball standpoint, is it somebody that you want and somebody that you need? But also from a personality standpoint, is it somebody that, fits well with the team in terms of team concept and environment and type of person he is, type of parents that he has. And so, you're right, all of our transfers are having significant impact on our team this year. And but the reason why they're being so impactful is because of them. It's their willingness to buy in, to love this place and love this team, and their willingness to work hard and be a part of this program in this university.
You mentioned Zachary before. He's top 5 in the league in assists and turnover ratio.
Yeah.
What is it about him that makes him so effective?
Well, he's tough. I mean, he's tough, and he's physical, and he's very confident. He's a terrific driver that can draw fouls, and he's a big guard that can post up. He can also knock it down from 3, and so he's been there before, and that's going to be a challenge for us. He's the guy that starts the offense and finishes the offense, and so we've got to find a way to disrupt that, so that he's doesn't feel comfortable out there to be able to make those plays and get it to his teammates. But he's one of the better point guards in our conference, and he's done it for a while, not just this season.
Kind of a two-part question here. About a month ago, rebounding was such a point of emphasis. You talked about it. You just spilled it out there to us a couple of times how it had to get better. It has. So the question is, how much better can this team get? And is there another area that needs to be emphasized similarly to how rebounding was a month ago, that in order for you guys to get to that point, you guys need to get better in that area?
Well, I think you can always improve and get better, especially, defensively and rebounding, from a defensive standpoint, just being able to protect the paint and one area that I'd like to continue to improve on is defending without fouling. It's a big piece for us to be able to dominate points in the paint, attack the basket through post penetration, offensive rebounding, and allow us to get to the free throw line. But for us, can we defend consistently and defend without fouling, putting teams on the free throw line? Because that's a free throw battle that we want to win every game. And in terms of rebounding, the thing that I like is, at the beginning of the season, I kept saying it's not an Armando Baycott rebounding game, it's a UNC rebounding game. And now, Jay Witt is rebounding consistently. Harrison has been terrific on the boards. We've got a 3, 4, and 5 get to the offensive glass. That's another area that I think we can improve on is offensive rebounding, because I didn't think that was very good against Louisville. And so getting second chance opportunities and being a factor on the offensive rebounding, I think that's huge, and that's an area that we can really grow in.
Time for a couple more.
Do you feel like BC is better than kind of their record indicates?
I think BC is really good. I just do. I think they're extremely well coached. I think they're tough. I think this year they can score easier and better than in previous years. And so alongside of, their commitment to defense and rebounding as well, I just think they're a good basketball team. And, we're excited about going up to Boston and competing against them tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, but obviously the last couple of games haven't been quote unquote low scoring, but the ones I guess that you guys have had in different environments, things like that, what do you think's kind of been the common denominator that allows you guys to kind of, get on top in those particular games? I guess if you think about the Clemson State, the ones like that, what do you think's kind of been the common denominator that allows you guys to get the advantage in those?
Well, I mean, obviously, we want a fast pace, and, we want to get out in transition, and, there's a pace in which we want to execute on the offensive end of transition from defense to offense. But, there's times where you can't dictate that, and the pace is much slower, and again, those are the things that you have to adjust to in order to become the best team that you can possibly become, because you're playing against different styles. And so for us to be able in a low scoring game to be able to still come out successful also gives us confidence that we're in those situations, we can still execute, we can still get stops, and we can still do the things that allow us to be successful.
Can you talk about buy-in of the transfer players? Like, if you think about your stars in terms of like Harrison or Elliott, what do you think has impressed you the most about their game? Like, if you think back to where they were at the start of the season to now.
I wouldn't specifically just, I guess the thing, and I've had this conversation a number of times, I've just been a part of a number of teams, not as a coach, just as a player. And it's very rare to have a group that, and I've said this before, that just genuinely enjoys being around each other. It just works. I think all of us in our regular lives, there's just certain people that we just get along with and just enjoy being around. And got 14 guys in the locker room that just genuinely enjoy being around each other. I mean, it's just, and it translates out there on the court. I mean, if they're going out to dinner, all 14 are going out to dinner. If they're going to the movies, all 14 are going to the movies. If they're going bowling, I don't think they bowl, but maybe all 14 are going bowling, or it's just their personalities fit together and they work. And I really believe that's something that you just don't know if it will or not. It just happened this year.
I guess building off of that, like, is that something that you had any worries or doubts about? Because, I mean, you look at the team now, obviously, like you said, like, they just genuinely have such a great time together, but, you think about the roster turnover in offseason. Is that something that, like, concerns you?
Well, I mean, you always want great team chemistry, and, we spent a lot of time together this summer, building that chemistry and just getting to know each other. And so I think that was a huge part in us getting to know each other and the relationships that have been built and that is translated out there on the floor. And as I said before, I've been a part of a number of locker rooms as a player and as a coach, and it's just been very few times where the locker room has been disconnected, and it's a chance to be thankful and just enjoy it.
Did you see Armando's reaction when Jay Wood had the bucket and +1 in
Yeah.
the second half?
Oh yeah, everybody was going crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was just for Jay Wood to have that bucket, to have the type of game against his former team. I mean, that is a sign. Like Coach Smith used to say this all the time. He used to say a good person is somebody that's excited about another person's success. Coach Smith used to say that all the time, and that is a characteristic of this team. Like Armando was excited just as much or more about Jay Witt's performance, his success, than any one of his dunks or scores against Louisville that night, and that's consistent down the line for each one of the guys in the locker room.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.